Hey friends, welcome back to another video. My name is Lindsay and this is my channel, Lindsay Talks a Lot. It has been a minute since I've uploaded anything. I'm sorry about that. Life has been a little hectic. I had two out-of-town weddings to go to, out-of-state weddings to go to actually. And then it was my fiance's birthday and I just got really busy with work. So things have finally settled down and I just kind of want to give you guys an update on my trips and some of the things I've been reading, especially since I didn't do a wrap up for last month. I have this really cute mug with me that I got from Colorado, and I have some tea that I actually bought at a really cute tea shop down in Golden, Colorado. I wanted to get like a little bit more, but I also had to restrain myself a little bit. But it was a really cute shop. But anyway, so in the beginning of June, I went to Pennsylvania for my cousin's wedding. They live in a small town. There's nothing super exciting, and it was like a 3-day trip, so I didn't really film a whole lot there. I had big plans to do kind of like a reading vlog, Colorado trip video when I was there, but unfortunately it was just super busy and we were with a group of people a lot of the time and I didn't really know them that well and I didn't feel comfortable like doing a whole lot of filming, but we did have a lot of fun. So we initially stayed in Denver and our friends got married down in Pine, which is like a little over an hour away from Denver. While we were in Denver, we got to check out this museum called Meow Wolf. It is super cool. It's an interactive art museum. It was one of the coolest things I've ever done. It is like you're set in this like alien futuristic world and there's like 50 or 60 different rooms to explore in, and like you basically get lost in the place. And there is a story that ties into the art, but we got there kind of late and we didn't have too much time to explore, so we didn't really get a chance to like dive deep into the place. But it was super cool, super fun, and I would love if I ever go to a city where there's another location. I think there's only 2 or 3 of them. I would love to try to be able to spend a little bit more time. I don't know if they're all the exact same or if they're all their own unique storyline, but still an art experience. But anyway, it was super awesome. We also went to a Denver Rockies game, which is baseball. That night, simultaneously, the Denver Nuggets were playing, I think down in Miami. But there are some super basketball fans in Denver because like they all got together to watch it on TV. Like there's this exclusive event in one of the downtown areas, and then the actual like Nugget Stadium, they were broadcasting the game and that was slam full. So we met a lot of people on the light rail that actually went to like watch the game, but it was super exciting. Everybody was like super pumped and happy because they won, and that's the first time I think they've ever gotten that far in the I don't know my basketball, but it's the farthest they've ever gotten, so everybody was super hyped. But the baseball game was fun. I haven't been to a baseball game in like 5 or 6 years, but I grew up playing baseball and softball, and I don't know, it's just a very nostalgic feeling being at a baseball game. It definitely got a little bit chilly. The weather, I would say overall, we were pretty lucky. When we were in Denver, it was like 70s during the day and then down to the 50s at night. It definitely, like once we went out west a little bit more, deeper into the mountains, it definitely got a lot colder. So we also checked out Golden, Colorado, which is maybe like 15-20 minutes away from Denver. It's really cute, like smaller town vibes. We had our like rehearsal dinner there, celebratory dinner there with the wedding party, which my fiance was a part of. And we went to this really pretty brewery and we got to explore the town a little bit. We got to do some shopping. We walked around. Denver and Colorado in general is just a really beautiful place. Like it's dog central. People just bring their dogs everywhere, which I love. And there are parks all over the place. There are lakes everywhere. There are trails everywhere. You can just literally pull on the side of the road and like find something to explore. So while we were there, we checked out the Golden Mill, which is kind of like a space where multiple restaurants are a part of, or like they have like a little station where they sell some stuff. And then there's also like a beer wall, and they have some mixed drinks, they have some ciders, and so we just hung out there as a group. It's right along the river, which is really cool. We got to see a couple people whitewater rafting. The river is really cold though. Like when you get close to it, you can just feel that, you know, snow melting going straight into the water, but it is really beautiful. We also went on a hike. I cannot remember the name of a place, but if I do, I'll just put it at the bottom. And we did some shopping in Golden. We checked out the Red Rocks Amphitheater, which is really cool. I unfortunately did not record as much as, or take as many pictures as I would have liked to, but it's okay. I got to experience it. I have the memories. We also went on a small, me and my fiance went on a small hike around Belmar Park when we were getting his suit tailored, and it was just a cool little park. I guess it used to be like this big privately owned mega mansion, and the owner ended up selling it to the city so they could have protected land. And it's really cool. The vibe in Colorado is just completely different. Like everybody just loves being outside, very active. You see people like paragliding when you're driving down the highway, people rock climbing. It's just really awesome. Like people just love nature there. You drive down like any state park or any city park and you'll just see cars parked all up and down the road. You know, there's like just little treasure spots everywhere. And then finally we spent one day and night in Pine, Colorado. That's where the wedding reception was and the ceremony. Very beautiful. We were high up there in elevation. It's like near Evergreen. It's like 7,200 feet, and you can definitely feel it. It definitely took some adjusting, but we ended up going to this Blackbird Cafe / tavern, and it was just this cute spot, like off the road, kind of hidden almost, and the vibe in there was really nice. They had all these lights they hung around. It was right on the river, and they had hummingbird feeders that you could sit and watch, and the whole time we were eating our lunch, we were watching hummingbirds, and it was so cool. They were so beautiful. They kept fighting each other trying to get the nectar. It was a really cool place. If I ever am in that area again, I'll definitely check out that cafe. We also hiked the Lair o' the Bear trailhead. There's like a bike trail and then a walking trail. And our friend said that it actually like expands many, many miles. Like you can walk like 30-40 miles down on that trail. We obviously did not do that. We went like 2 miles. But there's a castle down that trail, which is really cool. I think it was a former park ranger built the castle to stay in, and then he has this like water wheel that he used to use for power and electricity. Now it's used as a wedding venue, so we weren't able to check it out, but we did see it like across the river. And yeah, we had a super fun time. I would love to go back just to like as a vacation destination and just explore all the wildlife that Colorado has to offer. But I am glad to be back home and just relaxing again and being able to catch up on my reading. So speaking of reading, let's go ahead and get into all the books that I've not talked about yet this year. So a couple of these that I'm going to mention, I read back in the beginning of the year, first starting with Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam. This is a short book. I had listened to it on audio and I got through it in about 4 or 5 hours. This book centers around our family. I think they're in New York and they go and drive to this Airbnb to stay for a summer vacation, like a week-long vacation. And then one night, the owners of the property come knocking on the door and are asking to stay, even though it's their house. They said that like a major blackout has happened, there's no cell signal, there's no TV access, and they drove from the city to stay in this Airbnb so they could stay a little safer because it's more like off the grid. And I can't remember, I think they don't lose power in the house, but there are definitely blackouts going on in the city. And the family that's staying here, that's rented the house out for the week, is a little bit suspicious. They begrudgingly let this couple in, and they kind of get to know each other, and this whole time they're all trying to figure out like what really is going on. And what I like a lot about this book is you never really find out what's going on. Like, you just get the suspense and the fear from all these people trying to figure it out. The writing is definitely unique. There is a large focus on small, irrelevant details about the individual characters and their thought processes. Sometimes it feels very intrusive and strange, but I kind of like that because we do all have those like weird and kind of like passing thoughts. Of course, we don't share them with other people, but we're inside of these people's heads. So it just kind of builds on that sense of like dread and weirdness, and I really enjoyed that. I also feel like with this writing, even though it's a short book, you get a real sense of each character as an individual. Like, we have a perspective from teenagers' point of view, the younger couple, the older couple, and they just all felt like individuals, and they felt well developed. I feel like also the author like wrote things in a way that I've been like, yeah, I feel like I've been in that situation myself, or like that's exactly how I would describe the feeling. You know, driving down the highway and watching the rolling hills, you know, going on a road trip. And this book is not super well rated on Goodreads. I actually heard of it from Kayla with Books and Lala, and she loved it. And I'm really curious. I want to kind of check out some of his other works to see if I would like those as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. Moving on to 'Tis the Season for Revenge by Morgan Elizabeth. I read this during the holidays because it blew up and everybody and their mother was loving it. This book focuses on our main character, Abby. She's just been broken up with her lawyer boyfriend of the last 4 years, and she was like head over heels obsessed with him, and he broke her heart. So she decides to get back at him by dating his boss, whose name is Damien. Initially, it just starts out as like a easygoing, you know, kind of hookup type of relationship, but then feelings start to develop. I loved Damien. He was everything, but Abby was so annoying, like unbelievably annoying. Abby was a really frustrating character to be in the mind of. She seemed very naive, and I found it very hard to believe that she would be strung along for 4 years by this moron. And, you know, she goes on for half the book saying like all the things she did wrong and yada yada yada, and then she ends up being like, I actually wanted nothing to do with him at all, and I would never go for a guy like that. And it's like, huh? Where did that come from? I thought the conflict at the end of the book was really well handled, and like I said before, like I loved Damien. He was amazing, but Abby just brought the story down big time. This was only a 3-star for me. Another book series actually that I read in the beginning of the year is the After the Plague series by Imogen Keeper. I was really into apocalypse romances for like the month of January for some reason. I did really enjoy this series. I felt like the world building was realistic, and the romance was really well done as well. In the first book, I cannot remember the name. York was the guy's name. I can't remember the woman's name. I want to say Sloane, but it's probably not Sloane. But in this world, a virus has, you know, plagued the earth, and some people are immune, some are not. Our main female character has a husband that she loves dearly. They have the best relationship. Like, she builds that relationship in the beginning so well, and you just love them as a couple. And their husband gets sick and he ends up dying, and that's not a spoiler because it happens like right away. And we kind of have to watch her grieve for her husband and then try to survive by herself in this scary new world. And she ends up taking in like this small child and kind of raising him as her own. And then she runs into York and they start building a relationship. And I just really, really enjoyed this series. It was a pretty quick read, but it was well done. Next, 2 books that I've recently just finished, The Housemaid, and I believe it's The Housemaid's Secret by Frida McFadden. I did not realize like how popular this author was on Kindle Unlimited. When I was looking through her backlist, like all of her books have like 15,000 plus reviews. I really enjoyed The Housemaid. I thought it was fast paced and it was entertaining, and she threw a really good twist in there. In that book, our main character has recently got out of prison for murder, justified though, and she's kind of down on her luck. She's having a hard time keeping any jobs. Nobody wants to hire her because of her record, and she just isn't meshing well with anybody, and she finds this job as a housekeeper for her family, and she's really excited because the pay is good, and the woman who hires her doesn't seem to really care about her past. So she starts with this job, and this woman is crazy, like bipolar. She's nice one minute and then totally loses her mind the next minute. And this housekeeper is like, whoa, what the heck? She feels really pressured because she's making good money and she otherwise enjoys her job. But this woman is really, really hard to deal with. I think some of the character choices of the main character, her name is Millie. Millie, that's her name. So some of the choices that Millie makes, I'm like, really? Like, are you using your brain at all? But because of the plot itself, like, I was able to look past that, and I enjoyed the ending. I enjoyed the plot twist, and so I was super excited to read the sequel. And the sequel was definitely a letdown. I would say I would give The Housemaid a 4 and The Housemaid's Secret a 3. So in this book, like, several years have passed, and I feel like we just like got thrown in the middle of things. And the book starts out and she's like, oh yeah, I've helped this family and that family, and I've rescued all these women, and like I've done all these things. And it's like, why isn't the book about that journey? Like, the things she was describing sounded super interesting to me. And then she also threw a love interest in there out of nowhere that had not happened at all in the first book, and you're just like, huh? So I just felt like it needed some editing, and it had potential in its goal. And then sometimes Millie was just like, she just seemed so naive, and I just didn't understand like her thought process. This book also did have another great twist. It actually had 2 good twists that Freida McFadden does that really well. Like, she'll just throw that in there and you're like, ooh, okay, I see where you're going with that. I like that. But like overall, the dialogue and the hiding of this like past history just didn't work for me. I wanted to see all these things happen, not just be told that they did happen. I would like to check out some of her other work though, just to see. I think I would like it, give some more a shot. I also read Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. Apparently I read this back in 2016 and gave it 4 stars. I have no recollection of that at all. But I did like it. I did really like it this second time around. I'm not really going to go into the plot of Fight Club because I feel like everybody knows it or they've seen the movie. I did really enjoy Chuck Palahniuk's style of writing. I thought it was really interesting. In the copy that I got, he kind of talks about like the sensationalism of Fight Club and how people were writing him letters and starting their own fight clubs and asking him all these questions, and like the movies that they wanted to do, and it just was really interesting. I enjoyed the story as a whole. I think there's a lot to dive into here. I would like to reread it again and kind of highlight some things and notate some things, because I think I got it a little bit, but I'm still not getting the full picture. I also thought it was really interesting that this actually started out as a short story. I think he said chapter 7 in this book was all it was initially, and then he decided to expand upon it. But I really like this. I would like to check out some more of his work. It's very gritty, it's very like dark, but it was really enjoyable. I'm gonna check out some more of his stuff. A book that I'm currently reading is Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. That is a new author for me. I've never read any of his works. I'm not super far in, maybe like 30 or 40 pages. I'm really liking it so far though. The book starts out with, I believe it's 5 like final girls. So they were victims of serial killers and ended up getting away or, you know, finishing off their attacker. And they've been meeting in this, I'm pretty sure it's a church basement, once a month for the last like 10 plus years. And they meet with like a therapist, and they're all final girls. You know, each person has their own unique situation. Like one girl, it was like a summer camp slaughter. One girl, to be honest, I can't remember the rest. That's like the only one that sticks out to me. But our reading comes from our point of view of Lynette. We don't know exactly like what her trauma was. Like, we don't know what she went through, but it has messed her up big time. She's definitely an unreliable narrator. She's very paranoid, almost to a level where I don't even know how she survives. Like, she is so intense. She's always on the ball. She is always keeping an eye out on things, and she has protected herself to the umpteenth degree. And, you know, at the very start of this story, one of the final girls ends up dead, and then Lynette gets attacked, or we think she gets attacked. We don't know for sure. And so she starts running because she has prepared her whole life for this situation where she has to save her life again and save the lives of the people that she cares about. So I'm really liking it so far. It's definitely fast-paced, and I'll update you guys on that when I finish. But thank you so much for watching. I know this was kind of a long one, something a little bit different. I do have some plans for the rest of the summer that I'm going to try to really knock out this month. Let me know though what you've read this month. What's your favorite thing that you've read? And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.